Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Morning Meta. I am yours truly, Travis Spencer.
I'm Camilla Crawley.
Camilla, it is Thursday and we're about to do community conversations. I am looking forward to this conversation today.
Oh.
So before we jump into it, let's do the grounding and all the good stuff that we do first.
Okay. All right. So let's ground. You always know that I like to ground into the body. So that's where we're going to start.
All right.
Everyone, find yourself that comfortable position. And today, our grounding, we're going to ground into the shoulders here. So we're going to just inhale our shoulders up and we're going to exhale them down. Okay. So everyone, we're going to do this about 3 times. You can follow along or you can do it at your own pace. Just do about 3 times in a forward direction and we'll pause. And then after that, we'll go in the reverse direction. All right.
Okay.
So rotating the shoulders, inhaling the shoulders up, exhaling down and roll forward. Continue 2 more times where you inhale the shoulders up and exhale the shoulders forward. Inhaling up, and as you roll forward, exhale down. After 3 times, pause here. Notice what that felt like. Was there tension and was there release? Now let's go in the opposite direction. Inhaling up and rolling back and exhaling down. 2 more times, everyone. Inhaling up, rolling and exhaling down. And final time, inhale up, rolling and exhaling down. Okay. So if you need to do a little bit more stretching, that's fine. But we're just grounding into the body in that way. Okay, so it's time to set that intention.
Yes. Good people, let's set our intention for today. And as always, we're going to use the sentence stem. My intention for today is to, and then you name whatever you desire for today. So let's begin. I'll start it off. My intention for today is to. All right.
Okay. Now onto our centering thought. The centering thought says, challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them. Just find a new way to stand. Again, that centering thought says, challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them. Just find a new way to stand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. So, as I'm thinking about the conversation, this particular quote actually is really bringing up for me just thinking about challenges, and how I know for myself, when you're in it, it can just seem like it's going to last forever, that you don't want it to be, So when I'm thinking about, don't fight it, listening to this quote, like, don't fight it, just find a new way to stand. It's challenging, it's difficult because when you are in what they call storms or having challenges or difficulties, it's not pleasant, it doesn't feel great. And sometimes it feels hard. So I think that it's a really big mindset shift to lean into what this quote is saying, to see it in that way. And sometimes it doesn't come until afterwards. So I can think about something like being at a job and maybe not going in the direction I wanted to go in the job, or not even getting hired for a job. It's just an example. But then later on, realizing that actually, you know what? I'm okay because look at where I end up. So it's like that shift in perspective, being able to see through something that's going on. that it's actually something that's there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I believe now. So it wasn't always that way. But now I absolutely believe that everything or all experiences that come to us, they come to they're here for a purpose. They are serving you, even though in a moment it might feel like this is the worst thing, because there's always something that's being communicated, whether it is a lesson to be learned that you take forward, or sometimes I feel like it's just a communication of like, you need to see this, you need to pay attention. Not necessarily that you do have to do anything, but it's like, this is here because you really need to look at it and you haven't been looking at it. So that's a lot of all the different things that have just kind of been swirling around in my head, immediately coming off of that quote. So again, this quote says, challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand. So what comes up for you?
Suffering. And I love this quote, and I love the idea that challenges are opportunities. And the reason I said suffering is because suffering is pain times resistance.
Mm.
And when you begin thinking about a challenge, there is a growth edge there, right? When we're in the midst of a challenge, there's a growth edge there. And as a part of a growth edge, there are what we call growing pains. So when we resist that growing pain, that's when the suffering begins. So I like this, and when I can keep this in mind, oftentimes when I can keep in mind that this challenge is offering me an opportunity to grow, then I can lean into the challenge, and from the end result of that is my growth. Because the thing is, when you begin thinking about challenges, when you can meet your challenge and then grow from that challenge, will you be challenged the next time that situation comes up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, then the challenge will come up over and over again, and oftentimes we get stuck in a rut if we don't face whatever we're challenged with.
Mm-hmm.
So now, and this is after healing, and this is after growth as a human, and in my age, learning the things that I've learned. I can see challenges in that way. So I feel what Oprah is saying, and I see the growth edge as that new way to stand. Or how was the end of that growth? That quote?
Well, it said here, don't fight them, just find a new way to stand.
Yes, the growth edge is the new way to stand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And something that you said just it made me think about when you do, like you said, when you fight against something, that's the suffering, because you want so badly for it to sometimes be your way, or for whatever is going on not to be what's happening. So you're still like using things that aren't working, because it's like it has to be this way, or it's supposed to be this way. So I'm just gonna keep, digging at it in this way, even though it's not working. And so then that adds on the suffering to it. I think that finding a new way to stand, it makes me think about this practice of mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
To me, mindfulness is all about awareness, right? So you're aware of something, and because you're aware of that, now that opens up this opportunity of choices. So that's the way I kind of look at this quote too, is saying that, challenges are always going to be here. So what we can do is do our best to see them as opportunities, and then we can make choices to, as the quote is saying, stand different, but choices in how we approach them differently. So that's kind of some of what I was thinking about when you were talking about the suffering piece, and seeing it as an opportunity. I think about like it's almost like relationships too. Like so many things now are coming to mind in terms of the process of it, because it's easy to say, hey, just think differently, just look at it differently. But sometimes it's a process of you doing that same thing over and over and over, and until it becomes a point where you do have that light bulb moment, and it's like, okay, I keep, you know, searching for this same type of person, and the relationship is not working. You know, but I keep going for this same type of person, or I'm dealing with a certain situation and I keep doing this certain thing, the same thing. I'm using the same methods over and over again, and it's not working. And at some point, you have that moment where, like, okay, maybe I should try something different. Maybe I should look at this differently. So I just wanted to say that too. That in talking about this, I don't think it's as simple as like, hey, just change your mind. You know, just change your mind about this stuff. It is a process.
Oh,
You know.
yes. And every time we make a mistake, as we're trying to address the challenge, that mistake is fertilizer for our growth. And that's the piece I think, and I'll speak for myself. I would say, I think that when I had this perfectionist attitude where I wanted everything to be perfect, I wanted everything to work out in a way that made me look good, in a way that um, that I thought it should work out, you know, then I found myself suffering more and more, because oftentimes the way that we think that things are going to work out is not how they work out. Now, do they work out for our greatest good? Absolutely. But it may not be the way that we think our greatest good is going to be shown, you know. So the beauty of all of this is to be ready to make mistakes, to be ready to fall flat on your face, because in every mistake and every time you fall is that opportunity to learn and to grow. So you have to calculate that in. It's just like if you were building a house and you may have calculated that materials and everything that you're going to need is going to cost X amount. You're going to need to also think about incidentals that's going to happen, things that you didn't plan for that happens, and all of those things have to be calculated into it. So the last thing I'll say is, I think that what's important is that when you're in the midst of a challenge, the invitation is to pause, to become present, to ground in the moment, and within that moment, begin thinking about what is the best thing for me to do? What is the responsive thing for me to do? And so we need to tap into our prefrontal cortex. We need to make sure we calm ourselves down, make sure that we don't make any major decisions if we aren't sure of what the decision we're making. And all of those things really supports us, you know. And then once we make it past that challenge, then that's that victory. You know, we can celebrate that.
Yeah. And also, I was thinking about when you were saying, you know, to pause, you know, give yourself time to settle, because that's when you can be your most clear in making choices and also making decisions. And I think that when it comes to, you know, making mistakes or things that you label as failures or mistakes or disappointments, I think about how those moments are. I love when you said it's fertilizer, you know, because it absolutely is. Because what we do know for sure is that challenges aren't just going to stop because we want them to stop. So when you have a disappointment, when something doesn't work out, when it's a failure, whatever you're calling it, that's a fertilizer for the next challenge. Because now you can take that time to pause, and you can also reflect and ask yourself, like, oh, I've been here before. You know, sometimes I especially, and this is the last thing I'll say, I'll especially think about this when it comes to like financial issues. I know for myself, there's been times where I might have been stressing about something financially, and I'll say to myself, but wait, I've been here before. Like, I've been in this place before. And what did I learn the last time that I could bring forward in what's going on right now? And so that's where I want to land on the conversation about these key points of it's an opportunity or it's a gift, as it was said. So yes, a gift and an opportunity. and that we do have the power to respond to these challenges because we're always learning. No matter how the experience turns out, it's always some kind of learning, something that we can gather and bring forward. So pausing and sometimes maybe just getting curious with yourself, like, okay, have I been here before? Or what did I learn the last time? Or what is this moment trying to tell me?
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
Because the answer is in the situation.
Exactly, especially if it's being repeated over and over again. Okay, so if it keeps coming, like you said, if it keeps coming back, something that I still need to hear. So what is this trying to tell me? And breathe and settle.
Yes, yes. So, good people, the essence of what we were talking about, this is be my last thing. This is about courage.
Yes.
Courage is one of the most powerful things that you can have during a healing journey or as you support yourself and you support your well-being. Because when you're in the midst of these moments of challenge, having the courage to do something different or to stay grounded or to pause, you know, all of those things take courage, especially if you've been doing it a certain way for a long time that hasn't been working for you, you know. So releasing what no longer serves you takes courage. Because on the other side of it, you may not know what it's going to come out, how it's going to come out. So it takes courage to take that leap of faith and face that challenge.
Yeah, so as one of our very dear friends and teachers, and one of our community conversation guests, Aisha Ali, always says, this is the path of the courageous.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, are you courageous? Write it in the chat. We would love to hear, share with us a moment of courage when you were challenged, how you took care of yourself and what you did to move forward.
I like it. I like it. All right. So that's the call to action, I think.
Oh, okay.
I like that. You can write your comments right here on our YouTube channel, or maybe you have your own way that you want to record that in a journal on your phone. Reflect on a time where you operated in courage.
Yes, yes. I feel that. I feel that. So, good people, we want to invite you to like and subscribe and share this. Share this with someone you think can benefit from the conversation and the practices that we do every day.
All right. So, as always, we appreciate you all so much for being a part of this community.
Yes.
And we love that it's being shared with others that you think could benefit from the practices and the conversations that we're having. So, keep hanging out with us and join us each and every day as we're going to continue to start our days with you all grounded, intentional, and